Hey everyone, Nick from Nick's Crossing here, and welcome back to the train room, guys, for another, little review here on some new cars that just came in from Atlas. And guys, these cars are beautiful, but they are riddled with a lot of problems, and I'm actually kind of upset Atlas shipped these out without checking on these cars. But anyways, guys, I got them running with some modifications, but anyways, here we go. All aboard. Alrighty guys, before we get into this review, as a disclaimer here, the dealer I bought these from has done everything in their power to make things right. He actually bought me new trucks and has also supplied me with information from Atlas on what to do with the trucks until the new ones come in. So the dealer I bought these from has taken immaculate care of the situation, and they're awesome over at Iron Horse Trains. So I want to give them a shout out for working with me on these cars, because this set of cars was very expensive. I waited over a year for them to get here, and they finally got here, and they're riddled with all kinds of problems. I mentioned everything to them. He asked to send videos so I could, I guess send them to Atlas or whatever to, show them what was going on. So I want to thank the dealer. Like I said, it's not the dealer's fault. They've done everything in their power to make this situation right. So on with the video. Alrighty guys, in this hobby, I always preach about quality control, QC. Something as simple as this car right here shouldn't have any defects or like that, because you're talking about someone's hard-earned money and also your reputation. So I haven't ordered a lot of Atlas stuff. I've heard goofy things over the past couple years about their passenger cars being a little wonky. And honestly, I've had zero problems with any of their Steam era classics. Even this car right here, which is also a Trainman. It's got a full-scale car on there. No issues at all. This car runs great. And I got this set of cars in from Iron Horse, got home, set them up on the tracks, and noticed a bunch of weird problems going on. So the first problem, before I did any modifications to these cars, and the modification that I did does not inhibit these cars, does not damage the car in any way, shape, or form, and no tooling has been destroyed. But the trucks could not turn like this. They're getting caught up on the bottom tooling, and these are Atlas 60-foot Trainman cars, and Trainman are rated for 036 for 3-rail and I believe 2-rail as well. So I run 072 using Ross Custom Track or whatever. It's all actual Ross 72, not the flex curbs and all that. And these cars were getting hung up in the curves. So I was like, what the heck's going on? So I heard this weird scratching sound, and the wheels were binding up on the curves. And I look underneath, and there's this weird brake line in the tooling right here, and the wheels were getting caught up on that. So I was very upset. This set of cars, I bought the 7-car set, and that's my other little gripe. There should have been an 8th car in the set. Atlas should have made an RPO car with the set, because I love rail post offices, but it'd be so cool to have a nice even number 8. And the other sets they came out with, the 60-foots, had RPO cars. So I don't know why they didn't do a Western Maryland RPO, but whatever. But for the price you pay for this set of cars, I could have bought a new dishwasher, or paid the mortgage on my house this month, or a new TV or something. It was so expensive. I could have bought something else, but I really wanted the set of cars. I very rarely, if ever, pre-order anything, and I knew this would be a hot set being Western Maryland. But like I said, I reached out to the dealer, and Iron Horse has been amazing. They said from Atlas, came back to them and said to add washers underneath the trucks to space them out. So what I did was I added a number 10 washer on the bottom of each truck, so it doesn't damage anything. I added a little speck of grease, some Molly grease, or it's that Woodland Scenics, whatever lithium lube that they sell now. Used to be Molly grease. And the cars are operating so much better. They're not getting hung up. The other issue I had was that the couplers were getting so stressed out, they would actually open up on their own, and they're on a hair trigger. So I did mention that to the dealer as well. He's working out getting new trucks for this set. And these Atlas Trainmans have a different tooling than their old Trainmans. So the old ones, my buddy actually had one at his shop. I took a picture of it. You guys can see it right here on your screen. That is a cast truck. The new trucks all have independent suspension. So all of the springs and such in this truck are real. The leaf springs are also real. So when this rides down the track, if you push down on the car, you'll actually see it flex up and down. So this is a totally different tooling than other Trainman heavyweights in the past. Very cool details. I do like that, but the couplers are like on a hair trigger. So if I even touch the plunger, they automatically spring up. So because the car is getting hung up on the curves, and before adding the washers, these cars would just poof all over the railroad up here, and I'd be playing catch up. And I did not want to glue anything. I know a lot of you guys in the comments are probably getting ready to type, why don't you glue the couplers shut? I don't want to do that to a set of cars that are still under warranty and all that. I wanted to see what was going to happen between the dealer and Atlas and all that. So as my first set of pre-ordered Atlas cars, I'm sort of unimpressed. I got to be honest. It just drives you crazy. You've spent all this money. It's got to be perfect. So, like I said, the dealer's taking care of it. We're good. Everything's cool. Alrighty, guys, we're back on the bench, and I wanted to show you guys what I'm dealing with these trucks. So in a curve, you know, these trucks are going to move left and right to accommodate the curve. Now, these are Trainman cars. According to the box, it's good for 036. My layout, I'm running 072, and the trucks are still getting caught up on the tooling. So check this out. In a curve, on my layout, the wheels have been getting stuck on like this faux brake line. You can see the wear mark right in the middle. And the wheels actually lock up. And you hear this screeching because the wheels are on the bare track, not moving. They're actually completely locked up. And you can see this wear mark on the wheel. I've only ran these around a couple times. I actually had to push these cars around my layout because the couplers will not stay closed. So while pushing them, I was like, what the heck's going on? And reached out to the dealer I bought these from. He reached out to Atlas and they said, try adding washers. So seeing this height right here, the truck off the tooling, it almost looks like they forgot to add a washer or something. And they get really hung up on the tooling if any elevation changes happen. And then this is the truck with a number 10 Evabuilt washer. And it's so much nicer. Got so much more clearance. And it doesn't look that crazy, you know, a lifted truck. It looks pretty decent. So maybe they forgot to add washers in the tooling, or the space is wrong. I don't know. It's just frustrating that you buy a new set of cars, and here I am spending more money on top of expensive cars just so I can let them roll around my layout. So let's talk about these train cars. So I remember seeing them in the catalog all the way back in 2024. I think it was like right after Christmas time. My buddy Troy called me and was like, hey, did you see the Atlas catalog? And usually when he says that, there's usually something really good in the catalog. It's a railroad or a road name that we both enjoy. And that also probably means he's going to pick some up for himself, which I believe he did in 2Rail. So I get to his shop, and I look through the catalog, and I was like, oh man, this is bad. Yeah, I want these cars. So pre-ordered these cars. Waited almost, well, it's been about a year and a half since the pre-orders were due, and just waited and waited and waited. Thought these cars would never, ever show up, and they finally showed up right before Christmas. But the cars are quite simple, and they actually look really good on my 8x12 railroad up here. Also, guys, these cars are not to be confused with the newer Premier cars that should be out this spring and summer. Those are 70-foot cars. These are the 60-foot Trainman cars meant to run on 036. Now, for my layout, it's an 8x12, 072 loop. These cars look absolutely amazing, especially with the 280 that Atlas sort of redubbed. I have the older one, which is a Weaver 280 that I upgraded with Protosound 3, probably about 2.5, 3 years ago. And this is what I'll be running with in this video. Also, with the Alco FAs behind me, we have an ABA set, and I also just upgraded the B unit with a bass speaker. So these really, really push out sound. It's gonna be a lot of fun to film for this video. But anyways, guys, let's get you trackside to check out some of these cars. All right, guys, so this is a 7-car set from Atlas's Trainman series. So they're meant to run on 036 curves. So my layout is using 072. So, like I said, after that coupler and also truck adjustment, these cars are running great. Also recommend oiling all the wheel points. Had some screeching right out of the box. So 3-in-1 oils solve that problem. So let's get into our cars. And these are a nice, like, almost like an olive army green. And here's the first car in the set. This is the baggage car. And the only complaint that I have with these, I wish the doors open. These are like cast solid doors. But the trucks have that independent suspension in them, so you can actually see the trucks bounce up and down if you put a little bit of weight on them. So it's kind of nice. They did add a lot of separately applied grab irons. So on the roof here, got lots of stuff, and on the sides of the car, lots of separately applied details. And then on each car, this is kind of cool. They give you this little like stack on there, and then on the other side there's a little vent, I guess, for the stove. So that's kind of cool. Now these all have LED lighting, and it's not super bright, which is awesome because it's very Steam era-esque. You can see it down below. They have like a battery box and all that. It's all plastic, which is great. And a lot of people are saying, why isn't it metal? I'm actually happy it's plastic, so when I go to weather these cars in the future, it's going to be a little bit easier for the paint to stick to. So I really like that. Now if you move along, you can see here is the combo car. And again, we have those separately applied details everywhere. Lots of grab irons, a simple graphics on the side for the car numbers. This also says baggage, and then we start with our coaches after this. We have the newer style Trainman trucks that have the independent suspension. So the older Trainmans were all cast. So these four-wheel trucks here, they were all just one piece of metal, no springs or anything like that. I'd also like to mention that in each box for this set, you get extra diaphragms, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if they're larger diaphragms or smaller to add to close the gap, but these are what came with the cars, and so far I'm happy with the spacing. I really don't want them right up on one another because then these get all warped or whatever, so let's just keep it like that. Now, there is one piece of plastic on these cars that has been a problem child that's been falling off, and that is this like drain right here. It's kind of hard to see. It looks like this on camera. So these have been falling off, so I just use a little bit of like just really thin CA glue and get that installed. So one of the cars is missing that. I have to find which one it is. And then they also added brake glad hands between each car. You can see that if I decouple this car right here, you can see we have glad hands right there. So that's kind of a nice touch. Next we have our first coach right after the combo car. And these are pretty cool because they actually added a bathroom in each car. So when I go to paint these, I'm going to have to paint the bathroom, maybe do like an old metal sink or a porcelain sink or something. And then we'll paint the interior of all these cars. So it'll be really cool. Now while I'm in there, I'll add people as well. Now on this one, you can see there's a little vent up here, a little stack for the stove. And then this next car coming up is facing the same direction. So here's our second coach of the set. But this third coach in the set, you can see right here we have a little smokestack for like a potbelly stove that's in there. Now, did they add the stoves in there? I'm not sure. But it's kind of cool. You can see just some separate details on there. Next we have our fourth coach of the set. Same as before. And then last but not least, we have our observation car. And this has a drum on the back. I've never heard it called a drum head before. As a drummer, one of my buddies was telling me, like, oh, there's a drum head at the train show. And I thought it was an actual, like, front drum head to a drum set. No, it's an actual, they call this the drum head of the railroad. And you can see on there we have a Western Maryland Fireball. Alright, so the drum head in the back is lighted. It sort of washes out the Fireball logo. So here is the drum head without power. You can see more of the Fireball detail. Returns, and then you add power to the track. There we go. Now, these are all LEDs, which is pretty nice. You can see it's just barely illuminating the cars, which is pretty nice because you don't have to worry about washing out the interior and all that. And they look pretty nice with the lights off, which we can also test. But I believe all the cars are lighted in the 7-car set. So, yes, they even lighted the baggage car. And guys, I was worried. I thought the drum head was not centered on the back. It is centered. So from an angle, looks like you can see more light coming out from the side. But this is perfectly centered up to the drum head and the drum head plastic, which is awesome. All right, guys, so here's my Weaver 280 that I upgraded with Protosound 3. Originally, it had TMCC in it. Ran horribly, if it ran at all. Had the old tack strip in there and everything. So, gutted out all those electronics, and this beautiful engine is now a Protosound 3, awaiting to be weathered with this set of cars. So, here we go. Let's fire her up. Alright, and the whistle is the traditional Western Maryland tugboat. So here we go. right, so now we have an A-B-A set, and our B unit right here has a tweeter and a bass cone in here with an amplifier that has a Bluetooth receiver from the transmitter of this number 303 unit. So these two are now married together with Bluetooth, so the sounds will travel. So even if this B unit is down the hall, as long as it's getting power, you're going to hear sounds up to, I think they said 100 feet or something like that. So anyways, let's fire them up, and it is much louder. So check this out. Give her some juice. All right, here we go. Wow, that sounds more like an alcohol. everyone, that's going to conclude this review and rundown of these newer Atlas cars. And I just want to throw this video out there in case anyone else is having the same problems with their road name cars. They made lots of other road names. Other than Western Maryland, there's a couple other big tickets on there. And if anyone else had issues with their cars, please let me know in comments. Just would love to hear your experience with these newer Trainman 60-foot cars. And they run really well. I haven't had any decoupler shenanigans or derailments up here. All the trucks are making okay clearance. I think there's like the baggage car might need a little bit more of a lift with another washer or something like that. Once I get the new trucks thrown on this set, I will probably use a little bit of thread lock because they just use a screw into the plastic. So I'll thread lock those on so they'll be kind of stuck on there a little bit more permanently so they won't spin themselves out or whatever. But so far the set is working great with my railroad up here, and I can't wait to take these out to train shows and all kinds of other events. And also weathering this set's going to be a lot of fun too. And also hopefully enjoyed the bass upgrade that I did, or the full sound upgrade to my B unit. So it's got a much fuller sound compared to the really tinny Proto Sound 3 speakers that they gave me in those kits. I think they upgraded the speakers recently or changed the speakers out. I know there's a revision that came out with their boards. So it's whatever. I'll just leave what I have. I've got this bass unit in there. It just sounds phenomenal. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, also leave a comment below. Love to hear from you guys, your opinions of the set and everything. Till next time, everyone, happy raring. We'll see you next time. See ya.